There, it is April 3rd, 2024, and welcome to Spay Neuter Network Live. I am Dr. Mark Stickney, broadcasting to you from our Spay Neuter Network studio in San Antonio, Texas. Here over the next 30 minutes, we're going to talk about some events happening at Spay Neuter Network, talk about some healthcare tips and tricks for our pets, and most importantly, answer any questions that y'all might have. Along those lines, then let's start with a big day for me anyway. For veterinarians, is April 27, which is World Vet Day, which is a day just to recognize veterinarians and all the things that they do for people and pets and public health. And so I want to give a special thank you and shout out to all of our vets at Spay Neuter Network that work so hard every day to do the things that we do here and to help make the lives of pets in our communities better and help bring comfort and joy to their owners. So thank you very much to everybody, all the vets involved with Spay Neuter Network, and then of course, it goes without saying that there are so many other people involved here at Spay Neuter Network that make everything happen, that make it possible for the veterinarians, to actually do the things that we can do and enjoy doing. So, thank you to all of them as well. We've had a couple of questions come in already that before the show that I'm going to touch on. And talk about for a few moments, and we'll go into some other things after that. But we have a question here, and it says, I believe my cat has some ovarian remnants after having surgery approximately 6 months ago at another clinic. She's still acting as if she is going into heat. What can I do about that? All right, so that is a great question and not an uncommon one. That is one of the more common complications that can occur from a spay procedure. An ovarian remnant or ovarian remnant syndrome is when a piece of the ovary has been left behind or was not seen during the initial procedure. And that little piece of ovary will continue to function normally and produce all of the hormones that ovaries produce. So, even though the cat or the dog does not have a reproductive tract, there's no uterus anymore, they cannot have kittens, they will still act like an animal that does and will still show signs of heat and all of those behavior changes that go along with it. So, in order to confirm that diagnosis, your veterinarian can do a couple of different hormone tests to confirm that there is a piece of ovary left behind. And those tests involve measuring progesterone levels and then also measuring a hormone that's called anti-mullerian hormone. And if either of those tests come up positive, that indicates that there is an ovary present that is secreting hormones and is that there is a remnant there. So the only way to fix that is through surgery. And the veterinarian will go back in and they will look for the little piece of ovary that is there. This can sometimes be a challenging surgery because the ovary, especially in cats, is not very big to start with. It's a centimeter in size or smaller. Um, and now we're looking for just a teeny little piece of that. When we perform this surgery, we will want to do that surgery when the pet is showing signs of heat, because that is when there is the most blood flow to that little piece of ovary, and we'll be able to it will help us to find it because we'll see where a very large blood vessel is going to it, and that will help us find it and remove it. Um, sometimes these ovaries will break during surgery, and a little piece can fall in. Sometimes there's little pieces of ovary that are not that are separate from the actual ovary itself that you don't ever see and at the time of surgery. So those can be causes for it. But bottom line is we need to confirm the diagnosis and then perform surgery and remove that remnant. Another question that we have is, one of my neutered males started marking because of an unneutered stray that's been coming around. Any tips on how to stop him from spraying? Thankfully, it's not the stinky stuff. I just have to stay on him and keep Nature's Miracle spray on hand for when I don't catch him in time. It's annoying. Yes, it is. So, cats, particularly male cats, are very territorial animals, and they've got their space and they don't want anyone else messing with it. And any other cat that they're not used to or accustomed to is sort of a threat to them. So your neutered male, even though he's neutered, doesn't have his testosterone. He is still a cat, and he still doesn't like it when another cat shows up in his neighborhood. And because of that, he's doing the spraying. So it's good that you've already identified what the problem is, and because sometimes people don't notice the other cat roaming around. So there's a few things that we should think about doing here. One is that if you have a female cat in the house that has not been spayed, she should go ahead and get spayed, because that's one of the things that can attract that stray cat around your house and be causing the issue. The other things we want to do is whenever the cat does spray, use an enzymatic cleaner, clean the area really well so that he doesn't start to recognize and identify a specific place in the house where he's going to keep marking. Um, Something that will help to calm him down and make him less interested but less concerned about the other cat and marking his territory is going to be to get a pheromone diffuser. So the one of the brands is called Feel Away, and this is a pheromone that the mama cat secretes when she has kittens, and it makes the kittens happy and comfortable because they feel like they're around mama cat. And this so you can get this as a diffuser, like a plug into the wall diffuser, or as a spray. And you would plug this in or spray it around the area where the stray cat is visible. And this will help your pet cat to be more relaxed, less concerned about the other cat, feeling like everything's okay because he kind of is remembering time with when he was with a little kitten with his mom. So that will be one thing that will help to reduce that. Another thing to do is to physically block your cat's view of the other cat by pulling down the blinds, covering up the shades, pulling the curtains. Says if you can't see him, he's going to be less likely to be concerned about it. And then finally, we can try to keep that other cat, that stray cat, away by using an animal repellent product. And there's a whole bunch of these that you can get at. You can order them online. You can get them at Tractor Supply. You can get them at Walmart, and they're usually either sprays or granules that you would put around your window, and it is supposed to make the cat or other animals not make them want to stay away from that area. Um, I have no personal experience with this, but it is something that is recommended and might work well for some cats and not for others. Another thing that you can look into is to buy a motion activated sprinkler. And then when the stray cat, I mean, the stray cat certainly won't appreciate it, but it'll help him to stay away. Put it near the window or near where your pet cat can see him, and whenever he comes wandering around, his motion activates the sprinkler and he gets a quick little bath and he'll run away. So those are all things that we can do to help eliminate this problem, both from making your cat more relaxed and from making the stray cat want to stay away from your house. Let's see, we've had some other questions that have come in while we've been talking. Let's see. What do you recommend for fleas and ticks? Collar, liquid, medicine, pills, etc. The answer to this question is whatever you like the best and whatever your animal likes the best. There are so many different products now, tablets, topicals. They are all very effective. Spay Neuter Network has some that we sell as well. One of the ones that we have is Bravecto, which is a pill that your dog will eat like a treat, and it provides 3 months of flea and tick prevention. That's really really easy. Some people like to use the spot-ons like Selamectin or Celerid, which is a product that we have at Spay Neuter Network. There are a whole lot of them, and at the end of the day, it's really, will your cat or dog take the pill? Does it hate getting a spot on put on it? Find what you like and find what your pet will accept, and go with that. The most important thing is that we're doing something to keep those fleas away. It's going to be an absolutely brutal flea and tick season this year. It never got very cold this winter, certainly not in San Antonio, and they are just everywhere right now. So the most important thing is to use something and be consistent with it. Let's see. I feed my dog and cat instinct kibble food. Is this a good brand? Yes, it is. So, as when you're looking at pet food brands, one of the things that you want to look for is that if they have had AFCO certification, and that's AAFCO, and that means that they have been tested by an independent lab that shows that they have all of the nutrients that are required for a balanced diet in dogs. If you see that label on the pet's food, you have really nothing to be concerned about. So, unless you have some high performance show animal, virtually any pet food that is a balanced pet food will be just fine for them. And then the same thing for adult cats. Cats are funny about eating. They have a lot of little preferences. Sometimes they like the way things smell better than others. They like the shape of the kibbles better than others. Some cats won't eat dry food, but they'll only eat wet food. Some cats, for whatever reason, won't eat wet food, but they'll only eat the dry food. So, um, finding what your cat will eat is great. And once again, if it has been AFCO certified, the you don't have any concerns about it being balanced for your pet. So you will be in good shape there. Let's see. Why does my female dog now jump my fence now that she is fixed and she didn't do before she got fixed? I don't know. Um, I'm inclined to say that there is something that has gotten her attention on the other side of the fence, because that's not typically something that we see after a dog is spayed. They tend to be less inclined to go and wander around. So I'm afraid I don't have a good answer for you. But I do not think that it is related to the surgery. I think there's something that she is seeing that has gotten her attention. I have a Frenchie, and her pocket in her tail is pretty deep, and it itches all the time. Okay, so so bulldog type dogs, Frenchies, those little dogs with their cute little corkscrew tails, sometimes their tails will, and the bones that make up the tail, those caudal vertebrae, will burrow down deeper into the skin, underneath the skin than they should. And that creates this little divot there that can be very irritating to the pet and can get infected because a lot of moisture and can build up in there, and then yeast and bacteria can build up in there. So as far as what you can do easily is you can buy some cleaning wipes. They make a number of these that you can find at the pet store. They're basically like wet wipes for dogs, and you can use that to keep that area cleaned out as much as possible. But if it continues to be a problem, there's actually a surgery that can be done where some of those vertebrae are removed and that little pocket is sealed up so that it's not as much of a problem anymore. Let's see. Can an 8-year-old female cat still be neutered? Yes, yes, she can. So what we said. So you can neuter or spay an animal, a dog or a cat, at any age. Dogs and cats generally are considered to be seniors at 7 years of age. So 7 years old is where we start to see, just like when people get older, that's where things in your body start to not work as well. That's where we may start to see some kidney dysfunction, some liver dysfunction, things like that. So old age in itself is not a disease. I say that more and more with every birthday I have, but it makes diseases and things that can go wrong more likely to occur. So when I have an older pet like that, I do recommend that we check some blood work before surgery. Make sure that we have properly functioning kidneys, that our liver function is good before we start giving anesthetic drugs and doing any type of surgery on them. So we should do a few extra steps to make sure they're okay before surgery, but the answer is generally yes. All right. My family member's cat has had about 10 litters, and I encourage her to neuter her. She's just 9 years old. Had another litter next week. Okay, last week. So same type of thing. Again, we're an older cat. I would recommend checking some blood work first, make sure that she's healthy and in good shape to handle anesthesia and surgery. She's not too old for it if everything looks great. I would at this point wait until 2 weeks after the kittens are weaned before we do surgery so that all of that mammary tissue that's producing milk for the kittens has time to regress and go back down to normal prior to surgery. Okay. What can I do to keep flies off my dog's ears? Oh boy, I tell you what, some poor dogs and the flies on their ears, it just drives those poor things crazy. And it just makes me itch seeing it sometimes. So first off, I would recommend that we be on a flea and tick preventative just in the first place, because if we're having issues with flies, there's also likely to be um, other little parasites that may be bothering our pet as well. There are some products that you can buy over the counter at the pet store that are specifically made to apply to the ears that will keep those flies that are supposed to keep the flies off. Um, and that is certainly something that you could give a try to. The I would still recommend that we be on a monthly flea and tick preventative at the same time, though. My dog sometimes poops with blood that looks like jelly. Okay, so that could be a lot of things. The anytime that if our pup is doing well otherwise, anytime that I see abnormalities with the stool, abnormalities with the feces, the first thing that I think about is, do we have GI parasites? They can cause there's a number of them: hookworms, roundworms, whipworms. Um, that can all cause us to have some type of abnormality and abnormal looking feces. So I would recommend a fecal exam. Get that looked at first, because that's one of the easiest things that we can take care of, and then kind of proceed from there. My Pomchi keeps licking his paws, always the same paw. He'll do it till it's raw. I've checked it; it doesn't have anything in it. He's been doing it for quite a while. He's 2 years old. Okay, so yeah, so little Pomeranians and little Chihuahuas are breeds of dogs that can have a lot of allergy problems. And here in San Antonio, we're like the allergy capital of Texas, and we have so many pets that have allergy problems here. And it's similar in other areas of Texas as well. So when we have allergies, we get itchy eyes, runny nose, itchy nose, we're sneezing. When dogs have allergies, they get itchy paws, itchy ears, itchy skin. And some of these poor little dogs, that itching will irritate them so much that they'll be just licking their paws until they're just raw like that. And if it's on one paw, it may be that has kind of become the preferred paw to lick at. That sort of has become now a sort of a compulsion, in addition to there being any sort of itchiness there. So I would recommend having him checked out by a veterinarian. Talk about the possibility of allergies, and there are a number of possible treatment options that can make that better. So that would be where I would start, is to get that checked out. What can I help with the yeast between my dog's paws besides Epsom salts? Okay, so one of the things that you can do here is buy an antifungal pet wipe, dog wipe, and you can use that a couple of times a day to clean between those pads and get those, and that will help to clear that yeast. The other thing that you can do, some dogs, in addition to getting the yeast between their paw pads, they also will have a sensitivity to the grass. And when they walk on the grass, their feet will get irritated and itchy. So the other thing that I would recommend doing is using, after they go outside, just wipe their paws down with a cool water washcloth and remove any pollen or irritants that might be on there as well. What do you recommend for hot spots? Will this be a vet visit? It very well may be. So a hot spot forms when bacteria and moisture have built up underneath the skin. Our pet has bitten or scratched there and caused one little break in the skin, kind of like when you get a fire ant bite and you've been scratching at it and now you've kind of torn the skin where it was. Same sort of thing happens here. And then because the fur helps trap moisture in that area, that one little nick becomes infected and it spreads out across a much larger area than you ever would think. It's a hot spots like looking at an iceberg, and you only see the tip of it, and all the rest of it's under the water. So this will probably require a veterinary visit, and what we will do is clip that area, and it'll be a dramatic clip, because we want to get all of the hair off of the entire hot spot. So whatever wherever you think that hot spot is, there's going to be more area that gets clipped away because it actually is going to extend beyond the area you see once the fur is off. We're going to clean that with an antiseptic treatment to kill any of those surface bacteria, and then you may require systemic antibiotics as well to get that under control. Hot spots are anything can cause a hot spot. They were running around and they got themselves caught on a thorn. One of the most common things that we'll also see again this time of year is fleas or ticks that have caused that break and that irritation. So clearing, having a pet again on this is a recurrent theme. I say this multiple times a day, and I've already said it multiple times here. You've got to have your pet on flea and tick prevention this time of year. It will help prevent so many different issues with your pets. Okay, let's see. So, speaking of keeping your pets on kind of some sort of preventative, April is Heartworm Awareness Month, and this is so heartworms are a disease that dogs get, they and cats. They are spread by mosquitoes. The mosquitoes have the infective heartworm larvae, and those mosquitoes will bite our pet, and they inject those little larvae under our dog's skin or cat's skin, and then they migrate and burrow their way through the skin, and somehow they are able to find their way the to that dog's heart, and that's where they will then live and start to grow. And you can kind of think of what it would look like if your heart was full of spaghetti noodles. That's what that eventually kind of turns into, and that causes them to start to have a number of problems. The most dire being that they will eventually go into heart failure from that. So having our pet and treatment for heartworms is expensive, and it can be very hard on the pet, and there actually is no treatment for cats. So having our pets on heartworm preventative is very important. It's as important as flea and tick control. Spay Neuter Network, we have several. We have lots of different types of products depending on your location. A couple that we have here in San Antonio at the San Antonio location are for our dogs. We have try that again. We have Try Heart Plus, and this is a heartworm preventative that you give monthly. It's a tablet, and it also is a monthly dewormer as well. We also, for cats and dogs as well, we have Celerid, and this is a topical monthly preventative that you would put between the pet shoulder blades, and it also is effective against heartworms, fleas and ticks, and GI parasites as well. So those are options that you have prior to starting any heartworm preventative. You want to have a heartworm test to make sure that your pet is negative in the first place, and then once you start, you just want to give them that treat or that little dropper of medicine every month, and keep that from ever being a problem for you. What flea and tick medications do you recommend? We touched on this a little bit earlier. And the answer is what you like and what the pet likes the best. Celerid, that product I just showed us, is great for fleas and ticks. That's the one that I use on my own cats at home, and I don't have any problems. So, but ultimately, there's so many different options, and there's so many different great options. Let's see. When can my dog play with other dogs after neutering? We recommend that they not play with anybody for at least 10 days after surgery. They need time to let their skin heal. And more importantly, and the part that you can't see, are the blood vessels that we had to tie off during surgery to perform the procedure. We don't want our pet to be doing a lot of running and activity that increases their blood pressure and has that blood pumping against that blood vessel where we've got a stitch around it so that it doesn't bleed. We don't want that to become a problem. So 10 days is our at least 10 days is our recommendation for dogs, just to be dogs and cats to be little couch potatoes after surgery. Time for them to recover, time for them to heal. We don't want their skin incision to accidentally open up during while they're playing. Um, so let's just take a little break, and they don't listen very well, so we kind of have to encourage them not to do it. Let me touch on a couple of other things happening with Spay Neuter Network here in the last couple of minutes. And anything I talk about, you can find on our website at spayneuternet.org. April 4 is going to be our monthly Paws and Pints event at White Rock Brewing Company in Dallas. Bring your dogs, bring yourself, come out and have a drink. Our executive director, Jordan, will be there, and she'll be happy to talk with you, answer any questions that you have. She's super friendly and super awesome. So that'll be a lot of fun if you can head out there. I would if I was closer to Dallas. If you're in San Antonio, a big festival called Fiesta is about to happen, and one of the hallmarks of Fiesta is everybody has a Fiesta medal, and we at Spay Neuter Network have ours as well. And this is it, and it's a Spay Neuter Network, and it has our symbol, and it has a dog and a cat on there, and it says Spay Neuter Network Fiesta 24. We have these at our San Antonio location for $10. There's only a few of them left, so if you want to have one, now's your chance to come and get it before they're all gone. Lone Star Bark is a big Saturday event in Grand Prairie where they will have all kinds of dog related activities, dog games, vendors will be out there. There will be food trucks for dogs, food trucks for cats, probably not food trucks for dogs, but there'll be treats for dogs and all kinds of great things. Those tickets are on sale now, and there are also sponsorship and vendor opportunities available. So if you have a pet related product or service that you want to let people know about, that will be a great thing to take a look at. You can find the link to that website at our website at spayneuternet.org. Um, and then once again, April 27 is World Vet Day. Thank you to all of our vets that do all of the great things that we do here at Spay Neuter Network. Here, as spring has sprung, um, lots of wildlife is starting to show up, and one of those things is skunks. I have already smelled many a skunk around my house first thing in the morning or when I'm getting ready to call it a night. And skunks we know really well because they don't smell good at all. And then the other thing we need to remember with skunks is that they are a major spreader of rabies virus. So dogs, usually only once, because most dogs are pretty smart after they've encountered a skunk one time. But dogs will try to engage with these skunks, and sometimes they may get bitten by them. So it's very important that we have our pets up to date on their vaccinations, and in this case, especially the rabies vaccine. It is one of the most effective vaccines that's ever been created, and it can really mean the difference between your dog just having a bite and having to get that treated versus your dog having ending up getting rabies and having and dying horribly from that, because there is no cure for rabies. So like so many things, flea and tick prevention, heartworm prevention, this is one of those. Ounces of prevention is pounds of cure. So make sure that your pet is up to date on their rabies vaccine. That is something that you can have done at Spay Neuter Network. We are happy to see your pet and get that protection on board. The rabies vaccine is the only one that is required by law. So it's a good thing just to go ahead and have that, just in case your dog were ever to get into a fight with another dog or happen, heaven forbid, to bite somebody. That's going to be a really important thing to follow up with. At Spay Neuter Network, we work very, very hard to provide wellness services to our community at a price that is affordable for everybody. And we just think that's a very important mission to have our pets vaccinated, have them protected from fleas and ticks and heartworms, and then to have them spayed or neutered so that they can be great members of our family, and we don't have extra puppies and kittens being born and running around because there's just not enough homes for all of them. So that is our one of our big missions, and we are very happy to do that, and we're very happy that y'all joined us today. Everybody have a wonderful day, and we will talk with you again next month.